What's up, guys? Give me a second. Gotta do something real quick, and then we'll start with the Will Finds a Way #2 episode. What? The Will Finds a Way episode #2. There we go. Ah. Almost done, guys. Whew. Do. All right. Whew. What's up, guys? Bear with me. I just got done working out in my freaking garage. A little bit exhausted, but let's just do this thing. Usually I'm trying to start like around 9 o'clock, but freaking I went a little ham today, you know, son. But anyways, I'm like so exhausted right now. Freaking did legs. I'm freaking like so tired. Man, I try to like work out like at 5 a.m. You know, so then you know, take a shower and then, you know, freaking work and stuff. But you know, I woke up like at 6 a.m. So I'm like, crap, I don't have time. So I'm like, well, whatever. I'll just work out. You know, when I get home. So I'm fucking so tired. But anyways, welcome to my live stream here, and The Will Finds a Way #2. This is like my weekly episode where I just talk about random shit, You know, I'm an old man and I like to share my knowledge and experience to you guys so that way you guys don't make the same mistakes as I did in the past. So, but the topic I want to talk about is working at GameStop, and I worked at GameStop when it was cool. You know, nowadays, like, you know, GameStop is so industrialized now, you know, since they bought out EB Games years ago, and it wasn't the same. Now it's all corporatized and everything's so controlled. I feel bad for the GameStop employees, you know, because now, like, the cameras have, like, you know, sound, and, like, you know, corporation can, like, you know, listen, hear what's going on in every single GameStop store. And I'm just like, wow, they're so controlled. Everything's just so, you know, micromanaged, you know, nowadays. But back in the day, in the early 2000s, there was, like, so many gray areas, man. It was fun. And I broke it down, like, a lot of barriers when I used to work at GameStop. And a lot of stuff that I pioneered, and I feel like, you know, a lot of stuff like at GameStop now, you know, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I feel like they took some of my ideas. And here's how it starts. Like when I was like 15, that's when I started, like in 2000, that's when I started, like, you know, taking, like, fighting games seriously. When I went down to boomers and stuff like that, you know, I was like a little kid. I was 15, and challenging against guys like twice my age. And I remember I was playing on Capcom vs. SK2, and it's just like, you know, getting my ass beat every time. But we go like on $10 Tuesday, so, like, you know, all the arcades was unlimited. You just pay $10 and you could play whatever you want, which is really fun. And at the time, you know, I was just like getting my ass kicked, and, you know, of course the competitive edge in me, I'm just like, you know, I just so upset, you know. And it was just like, you know, that's why, like, you know, I kept practicing and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, wouldn't it be cool if, like, you know, we have like a local scene and stuff, we could, you know, play games, and just, you know, not just like me and my friends. So, like, one day I took, like, the Palm Tram bus, and, you know, I go to my local arcade, which is Fun and Games in Boynton Beach Mall. And they didn't have Capcom vs. SK2 there, but they had, like, I think at the time, what, Mortal Kombat 4, they had, man, what was it? I think Tekken Tag Tournament 1. Trying to remember a few other games, but, you know, I had, like, no bias towards any, like, fighting games. I just love fighting games, so I, like, play whatever. You know, nowadays people are so, like, focused in Smash and Street Fighter 5, but, you know, I played, like, everything, 3D, 2D, it doesn't matter. You know, it's if it's a fighting game, I play it. Even World Heroes. I don't know if anyone knows World Heroes. I used to play that, and it was fucking fun. But then there was, like, a GameStop that was, like, nearby there. And they're talking about, like, tournaments and stuff, and I was just like, oh, you know, it's just like, you know, at the time, like, tournaments wasn't, like, a big thing. And I was just like, yo, telling my friends, I'm like, yo, you know, this GameStop has this tournament. They had this thing where it's like the tournament structure back then wasn't how it is now. You know, it's so simple. It's just like tournament, you put money in a tournament pot, and then 70% goes to first, 20 gets second, and 10% gets third. But during the time, there's, like, no structure. It's like a free tournament, and winner gets, like, some, you know, some swag or whatever, you know, or maybe, like, even a free game. And the way that the tournament structure is, it's like a point system, which is, like, really unique. It's like, you know, you can't be good just one game. You have to be good with multiple games. And I'm like, oh man, this is up in my alley, my friend's alley too, because we play all the fighting games, you know? So, like, they had this, like, you know, Capcom series, and it was, I'm trying to remember the 3 games. I think it was Project Justice, Capcom vs. SK2, and I think Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And I was just like, man, you know, it's just like, and then they had it on a Dreamcast, and I was just like, how are you guys playing, you know, Capcom vs. SK2 on a Dreamcast? It's never, you know, out in States. And he's like, well, we have our ways. And for those that didn't know, Capcom vs. SK2 was never out in America for Dreamcast. It's Japan only. And then, you know, I was just like, you know, so intrigued. I was just like, wow, you know, this is a way to practice. The way I could beat these guys in the arcades and stuff. And, you know, like, I never knew, but I was just like, you know, so I was just playing, and going back to the point system, basically, like, you know, I think it was like a single elimination tournament. At the time, double elimination wasn't big because, like, you know, since it was free tournaments, like, you know, a shitload of people show up, and freaking so it's like, and there's like only one station, again, the structure wasn't developed then, it was just like one station, single elimination. And how the point system works, it's like, the higher your rank of each tournament, the more points you get. And then in the end, the total amount of whoever wins, like whoever has like the most total points wins the whole series. It's very unique, and so that means like you have to be good at multiple games. So we were confident because me and my friends, we showed up and was like, yeah, we're gonna take this and stuff like that. And then that's when I met with CO Darkness for the first time, and Lewis. He goes by like multiple nicknames. At the time he was like Yumi, and I think he goes by Bear Force now. But and then a couple other guys, and then there's a bunch of other like locals too. And then I was like me, Fox, Matt, I think Guido was there with us, and we're just like, yeah, we're gonna destroy these people. And then, man, it's like Project Justice. We never played Project Justice before, and we got destroyed. Cat vs SK, like I did good. I think I came in like, I came in third place, I think, and what Marvel's Kakarot 2 I didn't do too well. I know like my boy Fox, like he did really well. And then we all sucked at Project Justice because we never played a game before. And then I was just like, damn, and then I think who won the series, I think it was CO Darkness at the time. And I think he won like a free game or something like that. But then that's when I met up with those guys, and we're just like, hey, let's play together sometime. But we're still intrigued, like, how y'all play Kakarot vs SK2? During the time, like, the Death Knell, if anyone knows, the Death Knell of Dreamcast, is because of piracy. And Dreamcast didn't secure their game. At the time, cable modem or broadband modem was like, was like the newest thing. So there's like attachments, like a modular thing on the Dreamcast where it's like, you can put a 56K modem in there, but then you can switch out for the broadband. And here's the kicker, like, so you put the broadband in there, and there's like a software where, like, you could play the game, and then you use the software to actually rip the game because they didn't secure the software. So as it's playing, like, you use the broadband to rip it, and then you can actually duplicate the game. And since there's no mod chip involved, like, you can actually play from the burnt CD. So which makes hacking, like, so easy on the Dreamcast. So, I've learned that. I was just like, telling my friends, I was like, yo, we need to get on this because freaking, we need to practice our Kakarot vs SK2. And they're just like, all right, so we met up with his friend Gene, and he comes by every once in a while. And then I was like, do you know about this hacking thing? And he's like, oh yeah, man, oh yeah, so he actually brought his binder with him, CD binder, and it was like, gotta be like almost 100 games. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Thought I heard echo. But I was just like, oh my gosh. And then sure enough, I see Kakarot vs SK2, I see Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo or X, I think, at the time for Dreamcast. And then like all these like Japanese games and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, this is crazy. So we got a copy, and we finally get to play like, Kakarot vs SK2. We've been practicing a lot. Now since we go to those arcades like in Boomers, now we get to destroy those people. Now going back to the whole Gamestop thing, like, I come there frequently because, like before we got our hands on the game, they always have their copies over at a GameStop, and I was just like, oh, can I play Kakarot vs SK2? And they're just like, yeah, and I kept playing, and I was there like almost, I would say like 3 times a week just to play Kakarot vs SK2 on the kiosk, and just to practice and play the locals there. And I overheard like they're hiring for seasonal, and I think I was 16 at the time. Yeah, I just turned 16. And yeah, because I turned 16 on October 2nd. That's when October is like usually around the time like they hire the seasonal people. And I was just like, I applied for it, and they're like, oh, we see you, almost every day, so might as well get paid for it, right? So, they hired me, and also prior to that too, like during the terms, it was such a weird time frame because like it was like a revolving door of the management. There's this guy named Jeremy who was like the manager there at the time, and I think before like they considered me like to get hired, I asked if there's like a job position available, and he's just like no. And then I'll try more. Bear with me, guys. It's been 18 years. So anyways, so during the time they had the Cackrams SK2, like the management that was there, they quit, and then there's this Jeremy guy who was there. So I was there like 3 times a week. I was just like, oh, where's the Dreamcast with the Cackrams SK2? It's not here. Get. So you gonna buy anything? It's like no. It's like then get out of here. So I'm like, well, who the hell is this guy? So but I still stopped by there because that's like one of my favorite stores at the time. And I had nothing better else to do when I was young, so I just go to the freaking mall and go to the Gamestops and troll around. But I remember I was asking, if anyone's hiring, and it's like, no, like I gotta hire a freeloader like you, and I was just like, I'm very passionate in games, and he's like, do you even have experience? Like, why I work at Fanshan, it's like a Chinese restaurant, I work as takeout. He's like, what does takeout have to do with video games? And I'm like, but I'm very passionate about it. And then he's just like, no, never. I'll never hire you. He's like, you're a freeloader. And he's just like, like hell would freeze over if you're even management here, And then he kicked me out. And I was just like, man, and I was determined, like, because I'm like, I'm such a competitive guy. And I'll never forget those words. And I was just like, I will freaking work at GameStop, So, like, I kept coming back there, and every time he's there, he kicked me out, and was like, whatever, and then, sure enough, like, he got fired or something like that for some weird reason. So now there's, like, new management. And this is when I was, like, finally turned 16, and I asked him, I was like, you guys are hiring? He was like, yeah, for seasonal. I'm like, all right, and then, I applied, and then... they said like, we see you all the time, and I think one of the managers was still there, third key, like he recognized me, and he's like, yeah, this guy's really cool, he put a good word. He's like, he shops here all the time, even though I haven't really spent much money there. I was 15, at the time. So I got hired as seasonal, and they basically said like, hey, there was like 4 seasonal people or 5, I think, and they said we only could keep 1. So we're pretty much fighting for our jobs, and I was doing the best I can. I was learning the ropes and stuff, learning how to process use and handling the registers, alphabetizing like the wall and stuff like that. Stuff that the GameStop traditions always is to today, and I worked very hard, and sure enough, like, the final week, it said, like, whoever's still on this roster is going to work next week, so check out the schedule. So I checked out the schedule, and sure enough, I don't see my name on there. And I think the assistant manager at the time, Jim, I was just like, bro, Jim, I'm like, my name's not on there. He's like, yeah, man, like, he's gonna keep this one guy, because they're like friends, and I'm just like, that's not right. I worked my ass off, man. I sold a lot of reservations and subscriptions, and I was young at the time. And then he was just like, I don't know what to say. I'm just like, man, I was so gutted. I was just like, I gave it everything I have. I produced the numbers like they wanted, and I still don't get hired. And Jim's like, hold on, So he talked to the manager. I think the manager was Andre at the time, and he's just like, guess what, Will? It was just like, what? It's like, you only can work one day, which is like on a Saturday and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, and I'll take whatever. I just want to keep staying on the roster. So I was like, yeah, so I'm happy. So I get a day, and and Jim like gave me a suggestion. He's just like, look, if anyone calls out, you'll be the first one to call since you have the less hours. But when we call you, please accept it. And I was just like, all right, that's cool, so like he people be calling out, and I'm always the one to call. They'll call, and I was like, all right, so I always take the bus because that's my only way of transportation. Take the palm train bus, work there, and just give everything I got, and sure enough, like I'm trying to remember the timeline, people come and go, and then I started getting more hours, and I think on average I get like 20 hours a week and stuff like that, and I was so happy, the longer I work there the more hours I get, I'm in my zone, and I'm so stoked, and I'm just like really happy and just honored to work as much hours as I can at that GameStop, and but then afterwards, like I said, that store was like a revolving door for some reason. We got managers come and go, and it was tough because like every time when we get new management, it's almost like I have to start from the bottom again because they don't know who we are, so it's like I have to keep bringing it every time because one slip up, even though you can work there for a year, but if you slip up against or with like a new manager, they think like you're a freaking a garbage employee, and they'll just like freaking punish you for some weird reason, So I'm always serious all the time because I want to keep that job as long as I can, and there's like so many gray areas in that job, like for example. Let's say there's like different SKUs of people trading games and accessories, and I know this is fucked up, but this is how it was back then. Let's say someone trades in like a Sony PlayStation 2 controller, right? Typically, the official brands will always get more value compared to third party, but we use like the third party SKU of the Sony PlayStation, and so they don't get as much value, and you say yes or no. If they say yes, they agree to it, they sign for it, that's it. And then we put it aside and we buy it for ourselves, and there you go, you get a cheap, official Sony PlayStation 2 controller. And I know that's fucked up, but that's what we did back then, because at the time, like you want to play all these games and stuff like that, you try to make these as cheap as possible, but that's what we did back then. But I'm pretty sure things are controlled now, but back then, we get away because they'll never catch it. I don't think no one questioned me. All I said was okay, I'm gonna buy this. Okay, ring up. Here's the price. Okay, no one said anything, so I'm like, cool. And people do it all the time. I used to work there. What else we did? Typically, since nowadays, with the GameStop, when people told me now they have sound in the cameras, and corporate can hear you, and that's a big thing because if there's any weird transaction going on, they can hear everything. Back then they didn't have sound, so let's say someone trades in a game, just whatever game, Grand Theft Auto 3, and typically at the time it was a hot game. And it was $50 new, but when you trade it in, you get $30. And if you really want the game, and someone wants to trade it in, stuff is just look, you get $30 store credit, but if you want, I can give you $20 cash. And they're like, okay, so I give it $20 cash in my wallet, and then I buy the game off of them, and I do it all the time. And that's how I get these games cheap. But now since with sound, you can't do that because now it's they're watching, they're hearing everything you're doing nowadays. But and also what else? And at the time, Sega Saturn was obsolete, so people were bringing old stuff, and they don't get trade-in value, and they're just well, I don't need it, So I'm just here, look, I remember this guy bought a bunch of Sega Saturn stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is he had freaking Sega Saturn. He had the Japanese version of Radiant Silvergun. He had the action replay that you plug in the back of the Sega Saturn to play Japanese games on domestic systems. What else he got? He had Albert Odyssey, I think. Oh man, I forgot. Shining Force 3, and many others. And I literally bought all that shit for like $15. It's so crazy. Special Radiant Silvergun. I think I still have it. Do I still have it up there? Oh, I think I see it. Is that it? It's somewhere up there because I have all my games like on the shelves here. Like it's really high. But that Radiant Silvergun now, if you search for it eBay, it's like mint condition, which it is mint condition with its original jewel case. Friggin' like $250, I think. Man, I was just like, so happy. That's like one of my prized possessions. And I think I bought Dragon Ball Final Belt, and that was like one of the most rarest games ever. And mint condition, like at the time, it used to be upwards of $300. And I remember this kid, he had the game but without the jewel case, and the trading value for it at the time was like 40. But then I was just like, look, it's like you can get 40 for store credit. I can give you $20 in cash. He's like, okay. So I was like, yes. So I had Dragon Ball Final Bout GT, or Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, and in case you're wondering, that game was garbage. But it was so rare, But people don't know how it is. They just had the name Dragon Ball on it, and it was like popular. But they only made like I think 2,000 copies of it in America. And then when they came out with Dragon Ball's Ultimate Battle 22, which is basically Final Bout, the greatest hits, the value diminished dramatically. And now like the game without its jewel case, it's probably worth maybe $15 at that. It lost its value. Like anything with greatest hits, the game like loses its value because it's a remake. So, but yeah, man, those are fun times. There's so many great areas that we did. It was like it was great. I'm glad I did it back then. Now I'm pretty sure these guys can't do it anymore. And one of the management, like we had like it was like Becky was the store manager, and I think Donald, but we call him Duck, as assistant manager. And at the time, I was naive, I was young, and so it was just like, I'm just doing my thing. And Duck is like so lazy. He's always in the back, like he doesn't help out. Like he definitely took advantage of me a lot, just because I'm always the go-to guy, always the guy that does everything and stuff like that. So he just like sits in the back. He's just so lazy, And I remember like one time, like like the way that the GameStop like procedure works, when someone trades in the game, they trade in, and then they get the store credit, and then automatically the sticker machine will print out the barcodes for the used games. And I remember like I'm like I see like Becky like taking the trade-ins in, and when I see stickers I immediately process the used, because I like a clean floor. And every once in a while I was just like, I noticed like there's missing stickers, and I'm just like, why is there missing stickers? Like, well, whatever's the missing sticker, like put the game aside and then I'll take care of it. I'm like, oh, okay, like you want me to print out the labels or something? It's like maybe there's like a glitch, and she's like, no, don't worry about it. I'm like, it's kind of weird. So then like Duck be taking trade-ins, and then I start noticing a pattern, and I'm just like, what's going on? I was just like, I think we need to like call like the help desk or something like that, because it's like it's not printing out all the stickers. So kind of like Duck and Becky kind of look at each other, and they look at me, and then Duck is just like, should we tell Will? And then I was just like, tell me what? And then so like Duck like finally because Becky was kind of like was too unsure like how what I would do. And then I was just like like I was just like, tell me what's up, and so Duck was just like, look, we're helping out the customers to spend their trading credit. I'm like, what? I was just like, what are you talking about? And then he doesn't want to say the word, but he was just like, people have their trade-in credit when they trade in all their games, and they might not have all the trade-in credit, so we help them spend it. And then I'm just like, what are you talking about, Duck? So he's just like, he doesn't want to say it. And then I'm just kind of like, like I was so, I was 16. I don't get what the fuck they're saying, I'm just like, y'all just freaking telling me because I'm not really good at hints, So I was like, all right, well, when we scan their games, like the N64 games, for example, okay, look up. There might be a game we don't look up. And then, it's just like, and then we tell them this pile is this much. And if they said yes, then we give them their store credit. It's just like, don't you give them a receipt? There's also, like with the store credit, there's a receipt of telling you, like, they itemize, like, which game, how much you get. But, Duck says, like, we don't give it to them. So I'm like, wait a minute. So you're stealing from the customers? It's like, it's not stealing because we're spending the trade-in credit for them. I'm like, but you're stealing, So I'm just like, it's like we're helping. It's like, well, if you guys are doing it, then I'm going to do it too. And again, I didn't know any better. I was 16, But because I'm just saying, like, hey, these guys, like, have to set an example. And if something goes wrong, I'd be like, hey, these two, like, show me this. So it's like, so they're kind of like, they'll just keep it between us three. And I'm just like, okay, so sure enough, I do what they do, and I do exactly what they do. And then the games I don't scan, I take the trade-ins for myself. And, I feel bad. That is stealing, I know. But, they kept saying, it's just like, do not keep the store credit, spend it, And I was just like, well, what should I spend it on? Because I was just like, like, should I buy a game that I want to buy? It's just like, use it towards a reservation. So we're, so as we're basically stealing from the customers, we're using all that store credit and we're using it towards our reservation. So we just use, like, mock-up names. And, we put $5 here, $5 there. So, like, sure enough, like, our numbers, like, freaking ballooned, like a motherfucker. And, corporate didn't notice or anything like that. And basically, with those fake names, and this is another gray area too, because since GameStop was new, let's say when a game comes out, we put the $5 reserves and put the game aside, and we take that $5 and then we use that $5 and we refund it, and then we use that $5 towards another game. So we basically recycling the store credit to another reservation. So, like, our reservation numbers are freaking high every freaking time. And but the thing is, like, the loophole of that system is when you do a negative on a reservation, it doesn't count towards your numbers. But you have to do it after the game comes out. So it's a glitch of the GameStop. Because if you do it before the game comes out, then it'll impact the numbers. But if you do it after the game and then you take the $5 credit off, it doesn't affect the numbers. So we roll, like, store credits and stuff, and there's freaking, like, $100, $200 worth of, like, this rolled, store credit of reservations, and that we stole from the customers. But then Duck, I think he fucked up, and he was just like, I think he caught with someone that used to work at GameStop, and he was just like, oh, you forgot to give me the receipt. I was like, what receipt? And it was just like, so you look around and stuff like that. I was like, oh, it must have slipped underneath the register and stuff like that. And then he's like, hey man, you forgot a game. Oh shit, I'm so sorry, And Duck was just like, was trying to cover. He just like, oh, I didn't know, I must have done it too fast. I apologize. And luckily that customer didn't say anything, otherwise he would have been turned. But that's why he was just like telling Becky and I, is just like, hey, we gotta stop doing this. So it was just like, because I almost got caught. So that was that. So as soon as he said that, I immediately stopped. I think Becky still continued doing it, but I stopped because I'm just like, I don't want to get, I don't want to lose my job. But yeah, that was like the one fucked up thing that Becky and Duck did, and they got me into it. Unfortunately, I mean, I look back, I feel like a scumbag. I feel bad, stealing from the customers. But again, I was 16 at the time, and I was just doing what management has been doing. So, but I know it's not an excuse. I mean, we did stole from the customers, and I feel really bad. But I know now, like with the way the GameStop system is, like everything's watched, like really sharply now. So, no one's gonna be stealing from the customers like that today. But I remember there's like there's discrepancies, and I always be joking with Becky because like every time like once a month, man, I see Becky with this dude, and then, she's a single mom, and like every time they call, cell phones wasn't big at the time, so they always be calling work phones. So like every time I call, they'll call and say, "Hey, is Becky there?" I was like, "Who's this?" And then they'll repeat the question again, "Is Becky there? Who's this? Is Becky there?" So I think one time I slipped up and Becky almost killed me. Like, so because like one guy was like, "Is Becky there?" And I was just like, "Who's this? Is Becky there? Is this Justin? Who's Justin?" And I'm like, "Hey, Becky, I think I fucked up." And he's like, "What do you mean?" It's just like, "Here, answer this." So after talking, like 15 minutes later, she come up to the front. I was like, "Will, what the fuck did you say?" And I was just like, "I don't know. The guy is being rude to me. Like, I kept asking, 'Who is this?' He kept saying, 'It's Becky there.' And then I guess I said the wrong name. And she's just like, what the fuck, man? And then she got so upset and stuff like that. And next thing that dude comes in. And then he was just like, started asking a bunch of questions about Justin or whatever. And I was like, "I don't know anything, man." And holy shit, man. This guy like almost come every day. "Hey, how's it going? Is Becky here?" No, okay, all right, and bye. And then, Becky was just so mad at me. She was just like, I think she punished me, like, the way that she punished me was fucked up. She's just like, "For now on, you're going to process the use and the other associates are not going to do it." And she'll punish me like that. And I was just like, man, it's kind of fucked up. I was like, whatever, But yeah, man, I was just like, oops, and then I think like afterwards, like everything was cool and stuff like that, like luckily like still kept my hours because, I'm like, one of the hardest working like associates there. So, I always like maintain my hours, even though like, I did that little slip up and I almost blew Becky's cover. My bad. I'm sorry, Becky, if you're out there. I know you're doing your thing, with the dudes, but oops. But Duck, like, I always have an issue with because like he is so lazy, and he definitely takes advantage of me. And there's this one time like, Becky was on vacation, and so there's like this corporate guy who's like covering her spot, and Duck was with his friends, and he was just like, "Will, give me your employee number, so you can use my discount for this guy." And I said, "No." And he's like, "No, Will, I'm the manager on duty. You're gonna give me your employee number." And I was just like, "No, I'm not gonna give you my employee number." And then he's just like, like, "I can look up the book and find your employee number." And I was just like, "Don't do it." He's like, "I'm gonna do it." So he looked it up, and then he was just like, "Okay." Well, then we had the booklets, and it's basically like, it's just like a ledger book. It keeps track of everyone. For every time like you use your employee discount, you have to sign and stuff like that. So he fucking like, give me the book, and he's just like, "Well, sign this." And then I'm like, "I'm not gonna sign it. Like, I didn't authorize you for using my employee discount for your friend. You should use your own." It's like, "Well, the policy is like we can't ring ourselves up." And I was just like, "No." It was just like, but the thing is like, managers can only ring up employee discounts, which is why I can't ring up for him. So that's why he wants me to use my employee discount, for his friend. And I said, fuck that. No. And then he's like, sign. He's trying to force me to sign and stuff like that. And he tried to give me like a guilt trip. And he's like, Will, if it weren't for us, you wouldn't be working here. You ride the bus just to work at GameStop. We take you home. Is this the thanks you get? And I'm like, motherfucker, you don't fucking work. I do most of the working, bitch. I didn't cuss. I wanted to, but in my mind, that's what I wanted to like say, But I was just like, you don't work, Like, if anything, you owe me. And then he was just like, and he's just like, that's messed up, Now you're trying to be the victim and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you're doing something that's against the policy. That's wrong. Now it's on the book right now, and I'm not signing it. He tried to forge my signature, and I was just like, dude, no. It was just like, so the next day I was off, and that corporate guy that's covered for Becky, it was working that morning, and I knew that, and I took the bus, and I was just like, hey man, and I told him the whole story, and when you look at the booklet, and then he looked at the cameras, and he saw the argument between us and stuff like that, and he was just like, okay, and then sure enough, like a couple days later, like Duck, got fired and stuff like that, and then Becky finally got back on the vacation, and she's like, what's going on? And then I'm just like, it looks like they fired Duck and stuff like that. And when she figured out the story, and she like, she took me to the back, and she's just like, Will, he's just like, Duck's your friend. And I was just like, he ain't my friend. Like, and then she tried to guilt trip me, and even though I was young, 16 at the time, I was just like, I'm smart enough to be like, it's just like, this guy's lazy. He shouldn't be in his management, he shouldn't be in that position. He shouldn't like take advantage of me, take advantage of the associates, And what she wanted me to do is to say like, look, it was my decision to use the employee discount of Duck's friend and stuff like that, so that way, Duck can get reinstated. And I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna lie for you guys. And she's like, well, what about all those times like you stole from those customers' games? And I'm like, well, I did it because you guys did it. So if you guys are gonna like, try to blackmail me, you're coming with me, Becky, And she's just like, that is so fucked up, we took care of you, Will. We take you home after work and stuff like that, and trying to give me that guilt trip, trying to strong arm me. And I was smart enough, man. I was just like, no, fuck that, I'm like, I'm telling y'all, it's just like, you gonna freaking dragging me down, I'm dragging y'all down with me. Well, not y'all, it's basically her. Because Duck already got fired. So she's just like, that is so fucked up, and she's like, you know what, I'm not gonna take you home anymore. You're gonna walk, and I'm like, well, so be it. So walking from it was like Winchester, Boynton, and all the way to like High Pluxo Military. That's where my parents, or that's where I used to live. And that was like a 20-minute walk, I think it was like 20 and 30-minute walk. And everyone at my house like works and stuff like that, so I couldn't bum a ride. And and Becky refused to take me home now, and she intentionally not intentionally, but like I always work at nights because I go to school, but she makes sure on the weekends I work at nights too, so that way I walk home. But I didn't give a fuck, because the Palm Trans system, like they close like before we close, so I can't catch a bus. So I have to walk 30 minutes home, 20-30 minutes, I can remember, just to go home and shit like that. But I didn't care, it's just like, she can do all the shit she wants, but I'm fucking, will continue to work there, because there's no other jobs that will hire a 16-year-old. So it sucked, work 4 days a week at the time, and take the bus there and walking home to and fro. It fucking sucks. But I fucking did it, And then something happened, and I never know the true story, you know, we had a new assistant manager. I think we took him from the Palm Beach Lake store. And something happened. Corporate came out and Becky did something. I didn't know. And then I remember I was working the front. Corporate like took Becky in the back. Next thing you know, Becky grabbed her handbag and then she's crying and she walked out. Corporate come out and it's just like, you know, Becky is no longer your store manager. So I'm like, oh shit, you know. So I was just like, you know, I don't know what's happening. And then I think at the time, at that time I was 17, and there's some changes. And they hired Tom, who was a manager at another place. I think it probably was Costco or something like that. He had no game experience, but he has manager experience, and he's like he reminds me of Stone Cold Steve Austin, because, you know, he's like, you know, buff dude, bald head with goatee. You know, he sounds like Stone Cold. You know, I love Tom to death, man. And freaking, you know, Tom like had no experience of games, so he had to rely on me. And I forgot who was the assistant manager at the time. I'm trying to think. What was it? Was it Kodak? I think it was Kodak. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think it has to be Kodak. And then the third key manager was some random guy. And it was like that random guy happened to be like, you know, Kodak's friend or something like that. But anyways, that random guy, you know, he sucked. Kodak, you know, was pretty cool because he used to be like, you know, management of another GameStop, and Tom was trying to learn. So he picked my brain a lot, and he was just like, well, I have to rely on you to give me as much knowledge as you can for these games and stuff, because you're kind of like a veteran here. And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's fine, you know. And and you know, I was helping him out. He's a really nice guy. And you know, I think the third key manager's name was like, you know, Jabari. And Jabari sucked. This guy is such a kiss up, because every time he works with Tom, like, he kisses up to him, and when Tom doesn't work there, like, he's a freeloader. Like, you're supposed to tuck your shirt in, but like every time he works, when Tom's not there, he like, you know, untucks his shirt. He's just lazy. When people question him like, why you don't tuck your shirt, he's just like, get off my nuts, you know. And you know, he says shit like that. And one time, like, you know, I kept telling Tom about his behavior. He's like, okay, you know, we'll see. Because he's like, every time I see Jabari, you know, he's a really nice guy. And I'm just like, I think he's like a two-face, bro. And he's just like, you know, all right, we'll see. So like one time, like, Jabari didn't clock in, and he's like, yeah, I clock in at this time. You're supposed to show up 1 hour before we open. He's like, okay. And I think Tom, what he did was like, we had ADT at the time. He actually called ADT and says like, you know, hey, what time was the store open? Or what time did the alarm disarmed at this date? And it was like 30 minutes after you're supposed to be there. Like, I think you're supposed to show up at 9 a.m. I think. Or no, the store opens at 9 a.m. I think. And you have to be there at 8 a.m. to get, you know, prep with the store. And he said he showed up at 8. But then according to ADT, he showed up at 8:40. And then Tom confronted Jabari, and he was like, oh, it was a mistake. I didn't know. And then he's just like, look, someone lies to me, that's it. It's over. And he actually terminated Jabari on the spot. And that's when, like, you know, Tom looked and he's like, you know, Will, I know you're a veteran. And I know you're 17. And it's just like, I know it's not too often that we do this. I never really seen a 17-year-old that would take this position. But would you like to be a third key manager? And I'm like, fuck yeah. So I was a third key manager at 17. And that was like such a big deal. You know, I told my friends, I'm like, bro, I'm manager. And that reminded me, like, I was almost in tears, because I'll never forget that time Jeremy says like, yo, hell would freeze over if I was a manager at GameStop. Here I am as a third key manager, 17 years old, man. And I was so happy. I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, like, you know, like the fact that, you know, the feeling of proving people wrong, man, is no feeling other. It's like it's a great thing, and man, I almost cried, man. I was just like, I'm so joyed, you know. It's like I'm a third key manager, you know. I get all these like privileges and stuff like that. It's great, and more importantly, I proved Jeremy wrong. So Jeremy, if you're watching this, bro, what's up? Then, you know, I was third key, and then now like I step up, and he goes, Will, you know, numbers were great last year. Why were numbers were great reservations and now we're sucky? And I didn't want to tell him, like, you know, Becky, Duck, and I, you know, we stole from the customers. So I was like, I don't know, we did really good. And, I don't know. I was just like, you know, maybe the hot games were coming out. You know, I was just making some bullshit, you know, excuse. And he's just like, you know, we gotta come up with something. So I was so influenced of the people, you know, when I was 15 years old, you know, the import games and stuff like that. And there's this game coming out called Soul Calibur 2. And I was just like, it's coming out 3, you know, systems, you know, the Xbox, the GameCube, and PS2. And I was like, you know, I think this would be, you know, this is the game, Tom. And then he's just like, how would, you know, we can get people to reserve the game? And I brainstormed, I thought about it, and I was just like, hey man, you know, it's like when I started, you know, before I started working here, you know, they had these tournaments and stuff like that. And we haven't seen these tournaments in years, or a year or two. I was just like, why not we do it, you know? And then he's just like, okay, then how we get people to reserve? And I was like, how about this? And this was gray area at the time. I know you can't do it now, but this was back in 2003. And I pitched the idea to Tom. I was just like, hey, in order for them to join the tournament, they have to reserve a copy of the game. And then he's just like, Will, you think that's gonna work? And I was like, I think so, man. You know, I was just like, I think this will be like a big thing. You know, I think the Soul Calibur 2 game, you know, because Soul Calibur 2 came out in the arcades before for the consoles. So we already know like how this game is gonna be, and I think it's gonna be like the next big thing and stuff like that. And I was just like, dude, I think we, you know, I think with this whole, you know, if you reserve your copy, you can get in the tournament and stuff like that, and we can have like the prize is a free copy of Soul Calibur 2. And he goes, you know, all right, you know, it's just like, you know, it's all on you, Will. You know, you're the third key manager, and you're going to take full responsibility of all this, you know. And just imagine a Stone Cold voice, you know, him telling me this. And I was just like, you know, I'm up for it, bro. So, sure enough, like, you know, I made this flyer. I made it up, you know, I didn't, you know, I had a crappy freaking 2 gigabyte computer, Celeron and stuff like that. So, I was making the, you know, the flyer out of like Microsoft Word and PowerPoint or some shit like that, and I called the tournament like, you know, the 4S tournament, which is a Saturday, September Soul Calibur 2 special tournament, you know, so something crappy like that. Made one flyer and stuff so I could put it on the window, and you know, in order for you to get in, you have to reserve your copy. So I kept advertising like crazy, and we had like over the total like 100 reservations. It was ridiculous. And then, like, you know, again, I was influenced of the people before me, and you know, they were importing games, and I was just like, man, wouldn't it be cool like we could do just like the Dreamcast? But you know, nowadays they're smart, you know, you can't rip these games out at the time. But there's this thing called like Freeloader, and I was doing some research, and I was just like, Freeloader allows you to play import games on your domestic game, or on your domestic GameCube. I was like, wow, this sounds like a cool thing. And supposedly Soul Calibur 2 came out way early in the domestic for some weird reason. Like almost like 2-3 months early, I think. I don't know. It's such a weird time frame. And I was just like, oh man, I'm going to buy this online. I bought it off like a Hawaiian import site and stuff like that. I think the name was Toys and Joys. And I imported a game, I bought the freeloader, and I put the game in kiosks. I'm like, guys, you know, I advertise it. Tell your friends, we have a full copy of Soul Calibur 2 playable in our store. Next thing you know, people will come just to play it. You know, I see like kids, you know, they're just like, you know, hey, you know, is it, you know, like, we're not gonna buy anything, you know, but it's okay, you know, we can play. It's like, yeah, you know, I'm the third key manager, and this was like a remnant of how I was when I was 15. So like, you know, and because of that, you know, it's just like, oh, we don't have money, but hey, you know, it's like, we want to get into this tournament. It's like $5 to reserve it. Hey, you know, if you ain't gonna buy the game, you know, get your $5 back and just put it towards to another reservation if you want. You know, they just, you know, whatever, you know. So they did. You know, I had over 100 reservations total, and I want to do something special in this tournament. And before cosplay was a thing, I asked Tom, I was just like, I know we always in uniform, but I want to dress up. And, you know, I didn't want to say the exact words because I don't want to offend anyone that's watching this, you know, because he kind of looked at me and he's just like, is that like a girl thing? And I was just like, you know, I want to do this. I want to do something that people will remember forever. And since we're getting like so much attention, I want to do this. I want to dress up. And he's like, and he gave me his permission. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever, you know. So I actually made, you know, I think I have a picture somewhere. I have a Polaroid picture somewhere. One day I'll put up my Instagram so y'all can see. But I actually made the 2P version of the Killer outfit, which is like gold, and he looks like Squall from Final Fantasy VIII, if y'all remember. And I made, you know, me and my sister, you know, she helped me out with the sewing and stuff like that, and made it. And, you know, I took like, you know, dark blue pajamas, and we turned it into a Killick, you know, outfit. It looks pretty cool. And oh man, I remember like I had like, you know, during the tournament day, I was getting ready for my big moment and stuff like that. You know, they announced me, and he's like, you know, here's, you know, the will, and I came in the Killick outfit. Everyone was going crazy and stuff like that. And it was like 64 people showed up for this tournament, even though we had over 100 reservations, man. And it was my very first tournament I ever run, and I was so proud of it, man. It was 64 people participated. I mean, it didn't run smooth because at the time, you know, there was a good structure of the tournament, you know, of tournaments. So it was like single elimination, and, you know, we had it on the PS2 kiosk, Xbox kiosk. At the time, you know, there was no bring your own controller, you know, system. We just play what we got. And, you know, the winner ended up being like I'm a Beast, I believe. Andrew. He lived in Miami at the time. I don't know where he is at right now. I think he watches my stream every now and then, believe it or not. But he won. I think there were some people from Orlando and stuff like that. I think one person for Tampa. I think it was crazy. Bojack showed up, and I forgot the Raphael player. Ashley showed up, and my friend showed up. CEO Darkness showed up, and it was, you know, I mean, well, wait, that's kind of messed up. CEO Darkness is my brother to me, you know, so he's part of my crew. And it was fun, man. Even though the tournament was rocky, it was my first time, but man, it was a success. Tom looked at me and he goes, "Will, you know, you got, you know, I can't do the Texan accent." He's just like, you know, you got something going on, man. And he's like, we should do this for Madden and this, like that. So we're doing like all sorts of kind of games. Like I didn't do just fighting games. I was doing Madden. I was doing Mario Kart, I think, and many other games. And that's when, like, you know, 2004, you know, since I was influenced by the people in the past, I was just like, you know, I want to do like the point system tournament. Because I thought that was fun. I thought, to me, that was very competitive and is different. And so again, I pitched the idea to Tom, and he's like, "Well, this tournament thing is all you. We don't know a damn thing, me and Kodak." And he was just like, I support you 100%. I'm like, all right. So I had this idea. I call it the Capcom-a-thon tournament. And at the time, I think it was Capcom vs. SK2, Third Strike, and I forgot what's the third one. I think it was Alpha 3, I think it was Alpha 3. And basically it's the point system, single elimination. You know, you get points based on your rank. You know, the higher the rank is, the higher points you get. And then we tally up all the 3 tournaments, and whoever has the, I think was it a series of 3 weeks? I couldn't remember. But no, I think it was just one day. And whoever went overall was the champion and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know, like I pitched the idea to Tom, and Tom at first he looked at the name, he's like Capcom-a-thon. That's such a corny name, Will. And then he's just like, you know, what if Capcom sees this? Like, we didn't get approval from Capcom, they could sue us. And I'm just like, and he's just like, you need to come up with a unique name. And I'm just like, you know, so he's just like, so Will, you know, so when you go home, you think of a new unique name so we don't get sued. So I thought about it, and then I was just like, you know, I was listening to, like, you know, Yumi Hamasaki. I'm a big fan of Yumi Hamasaki. And one of her hits at the time, I think it was Evolution. And I love that song, and I kept thinking about evolution. And then, but the thing is, at the time, you know, there was the evolution tournament from Shoryuken, from Mr. Wizard and stuff. So obviously I can't use evolution. So I'm thinking about to myself, what about Wolvolution? And so I jotted down Wolvolution. And then I remember that day, it's so funny. I showed it to Tom. And Tom looked at it, and then he says, like, well, this is even cornier than the first one. And then I was just like, but it's unique. And it's just like, damn, this is Wolvolution. And then I was just like, you know, yeah, man. You know, it's just like, let's do it. And then he's just like, well, I don't know about Wolvolution. I don't think this name is going to stick. And then I'm just like, you know, bro, are we going to get sued using that name? I was like, no, but we're probably going to get laughed at. And I'm just like, you know, I want to use this name because it's unique. And he goes, you know what, Will? Like I said, it's out of my hands. It's out of Kodak's hands. We'll support you 100%. This name is not going to let us, you know, this name, we're probably going to get laughed at, Will. Just to let you know. And I'm just like, I don't care. I want to do it. So, sure enough, you know, I did so it's called Wolvolution 2004. And then I did this point system tournament, and the winner ended up being my friend at the time, Josh. He goes by a nickname Lovecraft13, and he won the series. And of course, I was thinking ideas. I was just like, I didn't think of any cosplay at the time, you know, that I want to do. So I bought like the WWE Undisputed Championship belt. It was like the foam belt, and I put Wolvolution on it, and that was one of the prizes. And the other prize was store credit, I think. And everyone was all happy. It's like, ooh, you get a belt, you know? It looks so corny because all this is the WWE, you know, Undisputed Championship belt. And with like a white like label, it says Wolvolution on it, handwritten. But like, Josh is so into it because he's a big wrestling fan too. And when he won, he was so ecstatic. He's just like, yeah, I won a belt. And he was all like, you know, proud of it, you know? But that was fun. That's all that matters, you know. It's like, you know, I didn't have money at the time. I had ideas, and it's just like, as long as I put a smile on people's faces, man, that's all that matters to me. And it was such a, you know, an awesome experience at the time, man. And but then things happened because like Tom, you know, something happened at the Palm Beach Lake store. And then he gave me, you know, not ultimatum. He gave me a choice. And I love working with Tom, man. Tom's like the coolest guy in the world. And he goes, you know, either you forgot the ultimatum. No, I kept saying ultimatum. The choice. He says, you know, you can work with me, but you have to, you know, still be third key manager, or you still work at this Boynton Beach store. You and Kodak are both going to get promoted. You know, Kodak as a star manager, me as assistant manager. And this is before I turned 19. And then I was just like, I kept, the visualization of Jeremy kept saying like hell will freeze over if I'm management. I was already management, but the fact that like I could be like one of the youngest assistant managers in history, I think that would mean so much to me. So I was just like, you know what, like it was a choice of either working with Tom still or becoming assistant manager. I chose to become assistant manager, so I stayed, and coincidentally on my 19th birthday, that's when I officially became assistant manager. I was at the time the youngest assistant manager in Gamestop history. I don't know how it is now, but during the time in 2004, I was the youngest assistant manager at the age of 19. I was so proud of it, So, but things happen now, and now since I got promoted, he says like, look, well, you can't, run tournaments anymore. I'm like, but this is what draws people in. This is what we get our reservations. It's like, well, let's shoot for the moon. Let's see how we can get subscriptions now. And I'm just like, subscription is a big thing, because it was like, was it at the time $10 a year? You get 12 issues, and you get that 10% discount card off of used games, accessories, but not systems. And I'm just like, so he wants me to brainstorm ideas to get people to spend more money. And I was so gutted because I had this thing of running tournaments, and I'm just like, I have a niche, I have this Wolvolution thing, it's just like, and you want me to stop? And we butted heads. I don't know why we butted heads, but it almost feels like there's some sort of an animosity towards me because I was getting a lot more attention than him for some reason. I don't know, it just seems that way. And he was just like, like he has this weird thing against me. I don't know why, I thought we were working together, but now it was like, there's this weird segregation between me and him. There was like me, him, and then the other associates. And the other associates has to choose and whatnot. And Alex was working there. I think Cindy was there. I couldn't remember the rest of the people. And Gallo was the third key manager, I think. No, it was someone else. It wasn't Gallo. No, I remember. I think when he gave me that choice, like Gallo, at the time, like he never liked me. He didn't like me because I'm so serious, and he's always like happy-go-lucky guy. And I think when they gave me the choice of working either for Tom or Kodak. But if I worked for Tom, it was like a third key. But the thing is, like, Gallo, like, is going to be assistant manager. I think one way or the other, I think Gallo is going to be assistant manager. And, but I think Tom was banking on me taking the assistant manager position so that way Gallo and I could be separated, I think. And, was it? Yeah. It was like, yeah, I think that's what it is, because, like, I was the third... I could work with Tom at Palm Beach Lakes. I'll be a third key, and then Gallo would be. He would actually bunny hop. He'll freaking go from game associate or game advisor, whatever you like to call it, all the way to assistant manager. But if he was assistant manager, then he would tell me what to do. And I think at the time, like, he didn't like it when I told him what to do. Because I'm a serious guy, and he's like just a chill guy. So. When he gave me that choice, I think it's just because, like, it's just to make Gallo happy. I don't know why. What was the reason behind it? There's something weird with Gallo and Tom too, because like, I think they end up being roommates or something like that. So I think they're actually a lot more buddy. So it was actually more politics at the time, But anyways, just going on. I think I'm trying to remember who was the third key manager. I think it's some Hawaiian dude. I just can't think of his name. He's a weird fellow. But he's always like the meteor. Or he's the guy like trying to bring Kodak and I together. But it was tough for some reason because Kodak would tell me what to do and I would do it. And he says, you need to delegate these people. And I try to delegate, but they don't listen. So if they don't listen, guess what? I do the work. And I'm so used to doing all the work because that's how it was when I started as a seasonal game advisor. I do everything. And he's just like, I'm trying to delegate, but it feels like I'm being tested because like all of a sudden like these guys that always love to work, they're just lazy now, and I'm just like, Kodak, are you telling these guys to be lazy? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to start delegating, man. That's your job. You're a manager now. You're assistant manager. And then I started putting two and two together, and I was just like, Kodak, I'm like, are you jealous because I'm like the youngest assistant manager? And he's like, what the fuck? Don't accuse me of something like without any facts, because I felt, now that I remember when Tom gave me that choice, I think Kodak didn't like the idea of me being assistant manager, because like it just feels like because Kodak had to work his ass off to be assistant manager at the time. He had to go through the ringer, and I felt like I did everything that I did as a company man to be promoted constantly, and he didn't do that because he didn't think outside the box. So I think that's why like there's like this animosity towards me. So during the time of late 2004, Bob, our district manager at the time, he introduced us this new thing called template scheduling. And basically what the template scheduling is like these are set hours you have to work. You have to work these hours no matter what. If you can't work these hours, you get fired. Or you don't get fired, you leave the company. So I was going to Palm Beach Community College at the time, and I'm just like, I already made my schedule for the first quarter of 2005. And then this whole template schedule came out, and I'm just like, Bob, like I can't work these hours because I go to college. What do I do? He's like, well, you have a choice. You still be assistant manager, or you don't go to college. I'm like, I can't not go to college. What the fuck? I'm just like, I was like appalled, like for someone to tell me like I have to choose from college or work. So I kept talking to Kodak, and Kodak's just like, tough shit. And I'm like, this is fucked up. And then I didn't know what to do at the time. I'm just like, I had no choice, but I had to put my 2 weeks in. I talked to Tom about it. I went up to Palm Beach Lakes. I was like, dude, I had to put in my 2 weeks, and I'm leaving because this whole template schedule thing. So yeah, it's a new thing, but they're trying to work out because it's like a whole new thing, and no one, they're working out the bugs and stuff. But I was just like, what I do is just like, if you really want to be assistant manager, like, you have to withdraw from your classes in college. I'm like, that's fucked up. No, I can't do that. And Tom was like, I don't know what to say. I'm not your manager anymore, man. I'm sorry, Will. And I feel so gutted. I wanted to cry, man. Like, and I just didn't know what to do. But I already put my 2 weeks in, and I told Bob, I was just like, I came up with all these ideas and stuff like that to get reservations. I bust my ass out. I started from seasonal game advisor. I almost didn't make it. Then I had to prove myself again, and then kept my job as a game advisor. I became third key. I became the youngest assistant manager. Like, does these accolades mean anything to you? Well, I'm just going by what my boss tells me, and we're doing this type of scheduling. These are the hours. You can't work it. That means we don't need you. And I was like, that's fucked up, man. So I had to quit, and then that was it, But when I quit, like that store just went down because like just wasn't the same. No one can run tournaments anymore. They didn't have the knowledge experience I did, and I was very gutted. But then during that time, the whole template schedule came about, and this is like, I don't know what happened. I think like a year later, Gamestop. Well, Barnes and Noble owns Gamestop at the time, so Barnes and Noble was like agreed to buy out EB Games in America. And then afterwards it just went downhill from there because like they had to make cuts and stuff like that, and what else they did, it's like then it just became more corporate, and then they tried to do movie stock, which is like movies, but it's like GameStop but for movies. and that failed miserably. You know, there's so much like avenues that they try to do, and they fail. And and then me not working there anymore, you know, it's like that store went downhill from there. And that was it. That was the end of my run. But you know, that passion, you know, like CEO Darkness at the time, I was just like, you know, man, you know, I want to keep doing this, bro, you know, and I just don't know what to do. And he's just like, you know, well, we'll see what happens, you know. And then I found this place. I don't know where I found it. I don't know like how it came about, but this guy like wanted to do some sort of, you know, I think Land Center was starting getting popular in '05, so he wanted to do like a Land Center thing. I forgot what the place was called, but it was like a skateboarding / Land Center like thing. And I was like, let's run tournaments there, and I run my very first tournament there, and it was pretty decent. And then afterwards, you know, Dave was telling me, is this like, hey, you know, I got this friend Rob, like he's, you know, he's gonna do this Land Center called Vortex Game Center, and you know, maybe you can like, you know, take over, you know, running tournaments there, and then the rest was history. But then I used the Wovolution name. I remember now. Like during between all that chaos, like I did Wovolution 2005 because Wovolution 2004 was great, but I didn't know where to go with Wovolution 05. So I was talking to some people at this like, you know, this place for like anime conventions and stuff like that, and I met up with this chick. She was just like, you know, I know someone in the hotel business, you know, I can get you in the meeting room and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, you know, and then like I didn't realize how expensive it was, and like it took away most of my savings that I couldn't continue going to college, but it was like the risk I had to take, and I maxed out my credit card and everything. Like I paid so much for that room, I didn't realize. I mean, I saw the contract at first, but the contract was worded so weirdly. And I didn't know. She said, well, if you take catering, to give you a deal on the room. I'm like, okay, you know, but I didn't realize the catering is based on how many people I think is going to show up. I was like, I think maybe 50. So they did catering for 50 people, and like the freaking bill went from like, I forgot, it was like $400 to like 1,000 or something like that. I'm like, I don't have that money. So I was just like, take the food off. So like Amy, that's her name. Amy took out like, you know, the catering and stuff like that, trying to make it cheap, and it ended up being like $800. I had a $500 credit, and I only had so much on my savings, and I'm like, Amy, I'm broke. I don't have any money. And then she said, I'll lend you some money, and then she helped me out, and she's just like, I almost want to cry then. I was just like, I can't believe it. So it took me like 5 months to pay her back. It was fucking crazy. And you know, I'm a stubborn guy. You know, when I make mistakes, you know, I want to learn from them and improve on it. So like, whatchamacallit? So like, I went at it again with Evolution 06, and I want to go more details about it. I don't want to like keep on, you know, going off topic, you know, but that's going to be another subject, talking about like the Evolution Major series. But anyways, going back to the whole GameStop thing, that was the end of my run there, and it was sad. It was fun while it lasted. I think I kind of got off. I left before it became corporate, and I think that was a good thing, because when it became corporate, it wasn't much fun. And I feel sorry for the people who are working there now, because everything is all like fucking, like, you know, fucking. Like, you fucking sneeze at the wrong time, you get fired. You know, that's how bad it is now. So, but back then it was fun, man. It was fun while it lasted. So, but I'll talk about like other tournaments after GameStop in the future. But that was me working at GameStop in early 2000s, and it was fun. It was, when you're management there, it actually meant something. Nowadays, when you see management at GameStop, it's laughable, you know, because you can get any random guy off the street and it's like, hey, you're a third key, ooh, you know, so. But man, those were the days, man. So, but man, that's the end of this The Will Finds Way #2. That was fun. I talked for a little over an hour, man. And I even did it. I think I did some good bullet points of my time there. There's also another, you know, there's other shenanigans I couldn't remember, but man, it was fun times. So yeah, man. So trying to think, but thanks for listening to me, guys. This is you know, like every Monday. I tried to do 9 o'clock. I was a bit late. I'm sorry, but every Monday night, you know, I'm doing this. The Will Finds a Way talk. So trying to think of a new topic. I can't think of anything. If there's anything you can think of, you know, post in the chat room. So, but that's it. It's 10:50. I'm gonna go play some Soul Calibur 6. Let me stop recording.